the other vessel. Always look over your shoulder for oncoming traffic. Once you are clear of the other hull, turn away and move to open water. And finally, there are 4 safety precautions for running alongside. Stay away from the wake of the other vessel. Avoid radical maneuvers. Start the evolution only on the coxswain's command. And make sure someone is always watching forward. As a small boat coxswain, you may be required to tow a disabled vessel. The 2 types of tows are the astern tow, which is used in open water or when the tow is over a long distance, and the alongside tow, used in protected water. It provides better maneuverability than the astern tow. To tow a craft astern, approach the boat slowly, crossing the T of its bow, or at a 45-degree angle to its bow.
You broke it down?
Victims are often standing up as you arrive, so make sure your wake won't make them lose their footing. As coxswain of the towing craft, you are in charge and must alert the other craft as to your intentions.
We're going to throw you a line. I'm going to be in charge. I'm the coxswain. Once we throw you a line, you take the eye of the line, you pass it through your forward chock, put it over your T-bit, and at that time, have all hands stand clear. We're going to bring you up to speed and tow you into port.
To make preparations on the towing vessel, configure a bridle to the aft T-bits. Then secure a second mooring line to the bridle using a bowline.
Stand by for the line.
Pass the tow line and direct it to be attached to a through hull fitting that can withstand the strain of the tow. Your engine should be placed in neutral while working with the line. Always advise all personnel involved ahead of time if you need to engage the engine. The crewman takes a turn around the tow mast and pays out line as the coxswain slowly drives away. The slow speed can be maintained by bumping the throttle to forward and back to neutral. Pay attention forward and aft, and ensure that the line handlers keep the line out of the water and away from the screw. The line should form a catenary, but not so much that there is slack line in the water. Set a tow watch. As the coxswain, you must constantly monitor the towing process and keep the boats in step. Now the coxswain gradually takes a strain and sets his towing speed. If personnel remain on the disabled boat, have them steer behind your vessel. If no one is stationed aboard the disabled boat, make the wheel or tiller fast amidships.
Tow line has moderate strain. Both vessels in
Safe towing speed is usually between 4 and 8 knots. Keep in mind that your total length is now your vessel, plus the tow line, plus the disabled boat.
Stand by to cast off the tow!
Prior to casting off, notify the other vessel of your intention to decrease speed and to cast off. Decrease speed slowly and take up slack as necessary.
Take up slack as necessary. Take up slack as necessary, aye! Take it up slack to the tow line!
Then instruct the other vessel to cast off the tow line. After the tow line has been cast off, ensure all lines are out of the water.
All lines clear? All lines clear! Okay, stand by to move ahead. Hold on.
Another method of towing is the alongside tow. It is useful in maneuvering in confined areas and to bring the disabled boat alongside a pier. As you slowly approach the disabled craft, make sure there are adequate fenders and no protruding objects from either boat. 3 lines are normally used in the alongside tow method: a tow line, a bow backing line, and a stern steering line. Attach the tow line first. It runs from your bow diagonally to the disabled boat's midships, or to a stern attachment point, depending on the craft's size.
Pass the bow line.
Next, attach the bow backing line from your bow to the disabled boat's bow. This keeps the bows together.
Moving ahead. Hold on. Bow line secured. Bow line secured eye. Send over the stern line. Send over the stern line eye.
Finally, attach the stern steering line from the inboard attaching point of your stern to the outboard attaching point of the other craft's stern. This will keep the transoms together and will enable backing up.
Keep around your stern line. Keep around your stern line. Secure your stern line. Secure your stern line. Stern line secure right. Rudder midship.
Rudder midship line. Rudder midship.
Rudder midship line. Stand by. Stand clear of all lines.
Stay clear of four lines.
Set the tow watch.
Set the tow watch eye. Tow watch set.
Tow watch set high. Stand by. Moving ahead.
The first line, the tow line, should carry all the strain of the tow when you are moving forward. The bow and stern line should be taut, but should not carry any of the disabled boat's weight. For best control while towing, keep your stern slightly aft of the other craft. There are safety precautions that must be followed while towing. First, stay out of bites of line. Hands should be kept away from fittings. Tow at slow speeds. Maintain a watch on the tow line and the disabled boat. For a stern towing, keep in step and maintain proper catenary in the tow line. During an astern tow, ensure a sufficient amount of line is paid out to allow the disabled boat room to stop without a collision into the rescue boat.
Status of the tow.
And monitor attachment points for signs of weakening.
Tow line has moderate strain.
Now let's review how to anchor a small boat. To find a suitable anchorage, choose a spot where there is a good holding bottom, such as clay or sandy mud. The anchorage should provide protection from wind and should be a suitable depth. A chart of the area is the best guide in selecting a spot and will show the character of the bottom. Loose sand or rocky bottom should be avoided. The proper amount of anchor line should be 5 to 7 times the depth of the water. Coil down enough anchor line on deck for the depth of the water and to run freely without kinking or fouling. Attach the line to a permanent deck fitting.
Okay, stand by to drop anchor.
Maneuver the bow of your boat slowly up to and over the spot where you want the anchor to lie, and check headway. Do not throw the anchor into the water. Never let go of the anchor if the boat has headway on. Using a stern propulsion, start lowering your anchor to the bottom just as the boat begins to gather sternway.
Anchor's in the water.
Anchor in the water eye. Hold on, back it down easy.
Back it down easy eye. Anchor's on the bottom.
Anchor's on the bottom. All right, backing down.
With the anchor on the bottom and the boat backing, slowly pay out line. When the predetermined length has been paid out, the anchor will probably get a quick bite into the bottom and set.
anchor line!
Secure anchor line nine!
After the anchor is set, you can pay out or take in line to the proper length for the anchorage and for the prevailing and expected weather conditions.
Anchor line secured!
Very well. Set the anchor watch.
Set the anchor watch high! Anchor watch set!
Very well. Stand by to hoist the anchor.
When you are ready to weigh anchor and get underway, run up to the anchor slowly under power so that the anchor line can be taken in easily without hauling the boat up to it.
Taking up slack on anchor line!
Take it up slack high.
When the anchor line is moved up and down, the anchor should break out freely.
Anchor's at the water's edge!
Very well.
There are safety precautions that must be followed. Always handle anchor lines hand over hand. Never stand in the bight of lines. Avoid letting the anchor's flukes hit the hull at any time, whether your boat is made of fiberglass or metal. When anchoring during low or limited visibility, use your anchor lights to identify the boat.
Make preparations for getting underway.
Regulations require that a naval vessel at sea have at least one ready lifeboat rigged and ready for lowering.
Head overboard high!
As a coxswain, you may need to recover a person in the water. Knowing proper and safe recovery procedures may save a shipmate's life. There are three types of recovery: the direct recovery, lifting the person directly out of the water; the indirect recovery, using a life ring; and the swimmer recovery, in which the boat deploys a swimmer. There are three phases of speed when approaching the victim. The initial phase is the high speed after launch to get to the victim as soon as possible. The coxswain should use the fastest safe speed that the sea conditions will allow. And once the victim is spotted, the coxswain should maneuver the boat so the approach to the victim will be bow into the winds and seas. As the boat nears the victim, the second phase begins as the rib transitions from planing speed to steerage speed. This should begin at least 2 boat lengths from the victim.
Stand by to recover victim in the water.
And the final phase of recovery is the minimum forward speed required for the final approach to the victim.
Recover victim.
The direct recovery is done by bringing the boat alongside the person in the water and lifting that person into the boat. Whenever possible, the lifting of the victim should be done on the port side to keep away from the throttle. The wheels should be turned toward the victim when alongside. And all the rib recoveries should be attempted with the victim facing away from the rib sponson. The second type of recovery is the indirect recovery. The boat is brought to within 6 to 8 feet of beam the victim, and a heaving line or life ring is tossed to the victim.
Run the life ring.
Then he is pulled alongside and lifted aboard.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Stand by to deploy the swimmer.
And the third type of recovery is the swimmer recovery, where the boat is brought within a reasonable distance to the victim and a rescue swimmer is deployed to recover the victim.
Deploy the rescue swimmer.
A rescue swimmer is deployed because of a high sea state, debris in the water, or the victim is injured or unconscious. Always assume a downed pilot has a back injury and a medevac litter will be used.